28th December for further approval.
Okay. I'd like to call the Leominster Planning Board meeting to order for October 4th, 2021. At 6:30, an open public meeting for a site plan for 130 Pioneer Drive, map 463, parcel 13, for retail marijuana facility. Do I have a representative?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Kyle Burchard from Goldsmith Preston Ringwall. We're the civil engineer for the project. Here also with Ken Cram of Bayside Engineering, our traffic engineer, as well as the CEO of Revolutionary Clinics, Keith Cooper.
Okay.
So we're all here as just representatives of a much larger team. Hope to do an adequate job of describing the project to everyone. We have our plans up here on the board. And this represents the vicinity map of the project that places us on the Pioneer Drive, Pioneer Park development. It's kind of hard to read this scale, so I've included a drawing that maybe blows it up just a little bit more so that we can kind of tell where the parcel is at the end of the original Pioneer Drive before it was extended to connect into Orchard Park Drive. The site itself is about 2 acres in size. We're just using about that front 1 acre portion of the property to place a 2,282 square foot interior space. So the footprint is a little bit larger than that. It's 40 parking spaces that are proposed with it, with landscaping, signage, and drainage, and all the utility connections in the Pioneer Drive. The existing site is fairly barren. It's been cleared. It's compacted gravel over many years, various tailings and other materials, granular materials that have been hard compacted on the property. It is at the bottom of a much larger hill that comes down. That was creating problems for the use of this as it's currently used as an industrial storage yard. So there was at some point in time, there was a bypass channel that was installed to take that upland drainage and direct it around the middle portion of the site. And that channel flows both ways, so there's a little bit of drainage that comes this way. There's also the majority of the drainage that comes this way and gets to a culvert that's existing in the right-of-way of Pioneer Drive. There's currently no development to the south of the property. There is an existing building in use just to the north. Across the street is the city's septic lift or sewer lift station, and then it's mostly environmental areas. Across the street, a little bit further on, is a bordering vegetated wetland. The buffers to that, we had it flagged and surveyed, and the buffers to that don't even reach the right-of-way of Pioneer Drive. There was a question raised by the Conservation Commission as to potential for some wetlands to the south that would cast a buffer onto this property. So we did file a request for determination of applicability with the Conservation Commission. Because of the existing drainage configuration, this development, even if it is in the buffer, is not going to materially affect those wetlands. So the Conservation Commission granted us a -3 determination. So this is a geometric layout of the property, also with showing our utility service connections that are coming in to the building. So here is the proposed building. We have faded back the drainage lines that are collecting all the water and cleaning it through various tree box filters. The groundwater on the site is not that shallow, not that deep, so it makes it a little bit challenging for us to try to do infiltration back onto the property. But because of its current condition as a mostly hard-packed surface, with the regreening that we're doing, as we'll show more in the landscaping plan, we're overall reducing the amount of runoff from the property plus we're cleaning all the water before it gets off of the property. Also, as you may know, the use of this as a marijuana facility, recreational marijuana establishment, requires a special permit from the city council. We are filed for that. We are due to be heard before the city council on the 25th of this month. So it is a one-way circulation through the property. There's an entrance up here that comes in, and the circulation exits here back out onto Pioneer Drive. And that circulation was the point of Ken's study of the overall site and the surroundings. And maybe it's appropriate to let Ken talk a bit more. Pardon me?
Yeah, go ahead.
To talk about the traffic impacts that would result from this property. Ken?
Thank you.
I am Ken Cram, Bayside Engineering, registered professional traffic engineer in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And, I guess around the end of May, early June, we were contacted to look at the site and do a traffic impact and access study, which, if you ever read one, sometimes they can't get you to sleep. I've written lots of them in my lifetime, I gotta tell you that. But I like doing them.
That looks like a book.
Well,
Traffic study.
it's the appendix material that we have to,
Yeah.
you know, and slowly as we're getting closer to more of a really totally digital age, eventually this will totally just be a, you know, megabytes of data and that's it. I apologize for the poor choice of colors here, but the yellow you cannot see, you know, shows the roadways around the site. The site is right here. This is 130 Pioneer Drive, Orchard Hill Park Drive, Pioneer Drive, Leominster Shirley Road, Harvard Street down here. Here's the Target and the Kohl's facility. And across the street, we got the,
That's fine.
not Applebee's,
Olive Garden.
Olive Garden,
Olive
thank you.
Garden.
They're the same to me. I don't go to either one. So that was the general locus of our study. Brand new paper, you can never get it apart.
Yeah.
So, in terms of what we looked at for study area, because there is some activity going on the site now, we did counts at the site driveway, and we looked at Harvard Street and Orchard Hill Park Drive, and Leominster Shirley Road and Pioneer Drive. We did counts in June of 2021. They're brand new. We looked at the morning peak hour, the evening peak hour, and because it's a retail use, we also looked at the Saturday midday peak hour. We looked at several factors because we're still in the pandemic, and we've done this a number of times now, and it's been accepted throughout the, you know, every time I've done it. We've looked at data from Mass DOT. They have, you know, permanent count stations all over the state, and we adjusted upward the June volumes to account for the pandemic effect. I just want to pull out the right numbers of time periods, just to give you the exact, because I never remember exactly what the actual peak hours were. I left my fact sheet back at the office, so I have to page the report, unfortunately. 7:15 to 8:15 is the morning peak hour, 4:30 to 5:30, and then 12 to 1 on Saturday. And I believe that because of 12 to 1, the biggest drive obviously is the retail in this area, which is driving it. So we have our existing conditions. And so we look at future conditions. At the time of the study, we contacted town planner's office. We also contacted the neighboring town of Lunenburg because we're right on the border with them. No specific background projects were identified to be included at that time. And based on Mass DOT traffic count data, volumes have actually been going down in this general area. So what we did was, in consultation with them, they said use a 0.5% growth rate compounded for 7 years. We look at a 7-year planning horizon to follow Mass DOT guidelines. So we have our no build conditions, background base, and then we look at what our project is going to generate. And at the time when we did this study, the 10th edition of the ITE, Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual, was available. But that was just the 11th edition was just released not more than a week ago. And I know the gentleman that did most of the work on it. I was one of the panelists that helped to review a lot of the information in it. And what it is it's a compilation of various land uses, and they collect data from traffic engineers, municipalities, DOTs, and they compile it all into a giant mathematical model. And based on that data, it projects out how much traffic you can expect a certain kind of project to generate. These facilities are becoming more and more prevalent now in Massachusetts. 5 years ago, when the first one opened in Northampton, I'm sure you all heard the stories on the news about how crazy it was. I've since done probably about a dozen facilities since then, and it is slowing down. Just like when Super Stop and Shop came out years ago with the Super Stop and Shop store, everyone made a beeline for it. But now there's more and more of them because they're all spread out over the area. So on a daily basis, we project 576 trips, cut that in half for the number of total cars coming and going. So just less than 300 on a daily basis. During the morning peak hour, we project 24 trips, 13 cars in, 11 cars out. 50 in the evening peak hour, split evenly, 25 in, 25 out. And on Saturday, just a slightly higher numbers, but still less than 600. And with 42 trips in and 42 trips out during the Saturday midday peak hour. We then try and figure out, okay, where is everyone going to come and go to this facility? We have population data we look at traffic flow in the area, and we develop a trip distribution pattern based on the volumes that we have and the data we have. And basically, we have most of the traffic, 43% to the south to Harvard Street, and the balance, 57% to the north. So we take that, we apply it to the trip generation numbers, and we simply add them onto our no build conditions. We have our build conditions, and then we analyze them. And in terms of overall impacts at the key intersections, I created a couple of bar charts to give you an idea. This project will have a very small impact overall. The white column, first we have the weekday morning peak hour total volumes, then the evening peak hour and Saturday midday. This is the intersection of Harvard and Orchard Hill Park Drive. You can see that, the white column is existing volumes. The cross-hatched blue is when we add on future no-build conditions. And then the red is our traffic. And you can see it's a very small percentage overall. It's about 2% or so on a daily basis during the typical weekday. A little bit higher on Saturday because you don't have your commuter traffic on Saturday. It's all pretty much retail driven. And then we looked at Leominster Shirley Road and Pioneer Drive. And again, similar kinds of volumes, but you look at what we add and, we're very small. That 2% fluctuation, you would not probably notice on a daily basis if you went there between a Monday and a Friday someday, because typically daily volumes do fluctuate about 5% on any given day. And in today's conditions with the pandemic, we're finding a lot more fluctuation because people that have been working from home and are still working from home, Mass DOT, for instance, they're on a hybrid schedule. Most of their employees are home 3 days a week and they go in 2 days a week, but they alternate with other employees so that they're not all there at the same time. So, and we did our analyses, and we did, traffic engineers, we grade intersections, just like in high school, A being good, F being bad. And the only intersection, the signalized intersection of Harvard and Orchard Hill Park Drive operates very well right now. And with the additional traffic that we're putting through it, anywhere from 20 to 30 trips roughly in the peak hours, will not have an impact on it. The intersection of Pioneer Drive and Leominster Shirley Road, it's an unsignalized intersection. I sat again and watched it tonight, and the unsignalized capacity analysis methodology that we're required to use from the Highway Capacity Manual is very conservative. It projects very long delays, and I was out there again tonight. There were some delays, but they're not as bad as the model indicates. It's very conservative. So, the last graphic I got to show you, I just threw this up here to give you an idea. If you wanted to get a comparison of what the volumes would be, we've done this in others. We compared our 2,282 square foot facility, which is the white numbers, to what happens if we put a Dunkin' Donuts there instead. And you can see,
There's already one there.
there's one down around the corner, I know. That's where I got my iced coffee tonight. We're talking, a very small number of trips. So as Kyle mentioned, in terms of the site access, we have a one-way circulation system where you come in the north driveway, circulate and park, and then go out the south driveway. We looked at site distances at both locations to make sure that basically that, there's adequate sight lines for a vehicle that's traveling on Pioneer Drive, not Pioneer Drive.
Yeah.
Pioneer Drive, so that we have enough sight distance. As part of our traffic count program, we also gathered speed data, and we used the 85th percentile speed. That's an AASHTO and Mass DOT requirement to assess the sight lines, and we have more than enough sight distance. But what we did recommend is that along our frontage, nothing be planted in this area that's going to be tall and grow up tall, so that it doesn't impact those sight lines. The last thing that we talked about was because even though the analysis says it's a level service E or F at the intersection of Pioneer Drive and Leominster Shirley Road, we've committed to doing a traffic signal warrants analysis study to prove it's not once the development is up and operating. Because I know it's going to operate well. It operates pretty well right now, and so that's a brief summary of the traffic study.
Christmas is the only time it doesn't
Right, yeah, but again,
But I can't imagine the traffic from these guys is gonna be any worse than the manufacturing
No.
plants at shift change. Right? It's an industrial park.
Yeah.
you're right. Christmas time, it does go crazy, and we have an expression. We don't design the church for Easter, so to speak. Otherwise, you'd have about 1,000 empty seats in there. So that concludes my presentation. I'd be glad to answer any questions and address any audience questions.
Okay, yeah, we got a big audience.
We have no
tonight.
idea.
Yeah.
All your people.
It's a good site for this type of use. No residences around and no schools in the area. So we meet those criteria because there's a lot of criteria that with the Cannabis Control Commission that we have to address as well. And we meet all those criteria.
Yes, yeah, we also have distance requirements in our zoning, but there's nothing there, so
Right.
we don't have to worry about it.
Very, very comprehensive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Ken. All right.
You're lucky you got two guys that live in the neighborhood.
Right, yeah.
Right.
So, just a little bit more, I mean, this plan is in your packets, it's just the grading plan for the site, and, generally, the site, tends to slope towards the road, but we of course capture all that water and we clean it and before we discharge it to make the connection into the road. And that'll be one of the first things that happens, of course, because November 15th is the cutoff date for doing any road paving, so the contractor will want to get that done. We're holding the similar drainage patterns, this bypass is coming down this way, and of course, we're reducing the overall flow with the regreening of things. This is an existing, trap rock type of channel. We're gonna replace that with some, turf stabilization fabric, it'll allow it to green and so on. Now, we are proposing a fence over here, again, because this channel gets kind of constrained by the grading of the site. We're proposing a fence along this side, facing the undeveloped portions. We do have landscaping that's up here, and I'll get to that shortly. So, there is a full signage plan that's in the project, again, making very clear wayfinding wise that we're on a one-way circulation only. There is a monument sign, I guess I should pull this up a little bit. There is a monument sign that's proposed up here. We know there's a separate sign permit application. This is similar to what it will be, but it's not exact. That's being planned out by a sign designer, and that permit will be applied for separately. It will be fully, downlit, so that meets the requirements of the ordinance to not let that light cast out. There's the landscaping plan. The landscape architect, Dave Fisher, worked through this, selected some species based on their beauty, their durability, and so on. We have October gray red maples along here typically, but then there is also a scattering of the shade, the honey locust, shade master, and then we have a few dogwoods that are scattered throughout there. And as Ken said, in this front island, we do have these low shrub plantings that'll stay low, grassed areas all around, perennials on this strip that divides this parking aisle from the incoming aisle. I guess I should also mention, Ken also mentioned that the existing owner of the property is gonna maintain his business on the property, but on the back part of it. And so part of our discussion with the fire department was making sure that there is adequate access for emergency vehicles to circulate not only inside the site, but into this back area as well. So there is a cut where the pavement ends and it goes to the remaining gravel part of the lot behind, and then circulates again coming out. So that one-way circulation is maintained through that back area as well.
Is that the drilling company?
They're a basement dewatering company. They're not a driller. There is a geotechnical firm, I think, further up the road.
Yeah, further up the road, correct.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, but they are.
Is there a maintenance plan with that?
Maintenance plan with the plantings?
Yeah, for the site.
There is a stormwater operations and maintenance plan, and that has been submitted to DPW as well as to the planning board. Didn't have any comments come back from John Rose Berry yet on that. But yes, there is an operations and maintenance plan for that. And of course, in accordance with the zoning ordinance, any plantings that die within a year have to be replaced. And there is an irrigation system that's planned here to help them survive.
Uh-huh.
That's not part of our package, but that's being installed.
Right.
Project. This is the exhibit that we use with the fire department to make sure they saw that the full, 70,000 pound ladder truck would be able to get in, maneuver, get around the site, and work its way through everywhere.
Now, in the back there, is there a curbing there? Or is that just gravel?
Back here is all.
No, right at the border where the red lines are, where the truck, I know the truck
No.
goes up.
there is no curb that's there. That's a gravel shoulder off of the pavement. So there is grading there that keeps the drainage separate, so that, you know, we do have water that's coming down at us from that upper area. Well, actually, the upper area gets into this, but then there's also this that's draining towards this site as well.
Right.
There are cutoff channels that are directing that again to the side. Go back to that just to briefly.
Yeah, I thought you had plantings there, right? Looks like there was some green.
Well, there will be, you know, that area is going to have some growth outside of the gravel shoulder strip that's there, but it's a transition zone.
Yeah, 'cause when I was looking at the,
Sal's question, Sal's not.
where you show the trucks, you know, the fire truck, it seemed like it went up onto that gravel area in the back there.
Well, it is on the gravel, so the gravel will not be grassed. The gravel will just be compacted gravel suitable to hold up the fire truck. Beyond that is where there would be, you know, a residual strip, a transitional
Okay.
strip that will exist.
I didn't know if we wanted to make that a little bit larger for those trucks so that they wouldn't have to go onto the gravelly part if there was,
Well,
I don't know, it's a minor thing, I realize that, but when I looked at it, it looked like you keep them on the pavement if possible. And where it shows that they went into the gravel, and I just didn't know what the issue was there. Now, the chief has said it's okay, so I'm not gonna second the chief, you know?
sure.
But, you know, but at the same time, I was just cautious of that.
Okay, no, that's a good point. Yeah, I'm not sure, there might be some other treatment that could go there. I'm not sure what the owner's gonna do on that back part other than have his operation continue and stores vehicles, stores materials. These.
So is your property line in there?
So it's all, there's a lease area.
Oh, okay.
And the lease area goes to that point and covers the plants and the lights that are on that end of
Okay.
the paved area, the developed area.
Okay. So you'll be leasing the property from somebody,
That's correct, from the owner, Michael Albert.
from Albert?
Yep.
Okay.
What's he back there?
So that's, he's got a bunch of trailers and
A
trucks.
contractor, yeah.
Yeah, it's a contractor yard, basically, yep.
And they're there now?
Well, he has most of his equipment lined up on this side, and he's curious as how the progress of the project goes, when he'll have to move, and, you know, we're in, you know, regular contact with him about that. Any more questions about that one?
Okay.
So, really from there, I mean, this is the erosion sediment control plan. There's not much to it because the project is already very much cleared, and so we just have along the perimeter of the project, we have the appropriate erosion controls and construction entrance and some stockpile areas. And then we just have details of the plan. And that's essentially all that's on the development. Now, I may have gone over a couple things. I just have all the details back here. There is the photometric plan that we've done and completed in accordance with the ordinance to, you
How
know,
much are you making of that?
have the, so that's, you know, just a bunch of foot candles on the property and drive aisles and so on, and cutting off as we head off the property. Right. And,
Industrial plan.
there is a security plan that, is included, just has the various camera locations, both exterior and interior, and, you know, that there's,
Do you have any camera locations in the parking area?
the cameras are all mounted on the building. There are no
Okay.
additional cameras mounted on the site anywhere.
You gotta keep track of what's going on.
I do have the architectural drawings if you're interested in the look and appearance of the building itself.
Please.
So, there's a lot of discussion of color schemes and so on.
I think that's first one.
Similar to the. So this will be the side that faces Pioneer Drive. They'll have the big logo again on the building. The signage allowances are in excess of what there's going to be used on the property. This was some sketching to I was talking with the National Grid to talk about the electrical connection and how the sag of the wire goes across the drive aisles and so on. So that's also in the works, the discussion with National Grid to make the power connection.
Not underground?
It's not going underground, it's above ground, coming from the street and then crossing over. On the back side, this is what it will look like, and I believe that this is the side, I think this is the north elevation, and this is the south elevation.
So where's your loading dock?
So it's not a dock, it's a very small amount of material, relatively speaking, that will be coming into and leaving the store. We originally had proposed a trash dumpster area, but that's been since done away with because there's just not that volume of trash and waste that's gonna come out of this project in this operation. It's really, everything that comes in goes back out in sales, or it's boxing and packaging that's then recycled. So there's employees will eat their lunch, so there's a little bit of that lunch waste in the trash stream, but there's not a lot of waste that requires any kind of a trash dumpster. We've checked with Waste Management; they are agreeable to having just the 94-gallon toters, and those would sit behind the building. Again, so behind the building, on the back side of the building over here, there's a small sidewalk, and that's where they would be. Now, the screening requirements, as I read them anyway, was you can't see, you're not supposed to see it from the road, and no residential areas, and we're hundreds and hundreds of feet away from residential areas. So that's how we're proposing to deal with the waste back there. And of course, there's no marijuana, cannabis material in that whatsoever. It's not a manufacturing facility, it's just for retail sales.
So everything is prepackaged that comes in?
Right, there's no packaging that's done on the premises, and so that's all coming fully packaged to the site.
Okay.
So on the, this is, if you're oriented, this is the front facing there, and this is the door where that would come in. There's a loading space that's shown here. So there's a loading space striped out at that location. There's no permanent parking there. So that's just where they would come and offload into that door right there. It comes in typically a van, just a minivan type of vehicle, small vehicle. They just offload it by hand.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay. Very good, your presentation. Do I have any questions from the audience? I have to ask that, just in case there's somebody there. I'll ask one more time, do I have any questions from the audience? From the board?
You want to review the department head comments?
What's that?
You want to review the department head comments?
Yes. Let's see where I got it.
We've got stuff from the mayor, from the DPW.
No, I don't.
Yes, if it please, Chair, can I speak to that just a moment? We had gone through the technical review process, and then we had gotten the director's report along with the departmental comments, and that's what is in this packet of comment response.
The fire department said they, need more information, water supply and hydrant location.
That was the original comment, yes, and then
Then
the
they found
applicant
that,
provided new information.
right. Building inspector was fine. Board of Health, odor control plan, and trash removal issues, no.
They addressed most of the things in writing, didn't
They
They
did,
did, they addressed them all.
yep, all good.
Yeah, so good. The conservation, you said you have a, determination, negative determination?
That's right. I haven't seen it come back from Angela yet, but I know that that's what the board, what the commission
Yeah.
voted to issue.
Well, we'll just condition that you get that, that's all.
Very good.
All right, I move to close the hearing.
Everything looks good.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded to close the hearing. Do I have any further discussion? Any questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. We'll act on this later on this shortly. No. 6:30.
We don't act on it yet. We'll act on it.
Well, we gotta have our hearings first,
Oh, and then in the later in the
and
meeting.
then later on in the
Yeah,
meeting,
their
we'll-
agendas are right there if you wanna.
okay?
We won't do that one.
Oh, thank you.
There's not much.
No, there's not much on the agenda. Continue public hearing for a special permit for work in the watershed protection overlay district, 981 Pleasant Street, map 381, parcel 11, lot 1B.
Yes, board, there's a email dated October 4th in front of you from Scott Hayes, basically requesting that they withdraw the application without prejudice.
Okay. Okay. I've opened the hearing. We'll have to close the, well, we have to accept that. We have to accept that email.
Do you need a
Do you want me
motion
to
to
read it
accept the
in
letter,
full?
or?
No, she has to read it in.
Elizabeth, on behalf of our client, the Jessica C. Pierce Living Trust, we hereby request to withdraw the WSP special permit application filed with the planning board for 981 Pleasant Street without prejudice. Please call or email me if you have any questions or require anything further from our office at this time. Best regards, Scott Hayes, Principal Foresight Engineering.
Okay. That's been read into the record. Do I have any other comments or questions? Do I have anyone from the audience that have any questions or comments? Just to let you know, the reason for this is they're in the watershed protection district and it requires 3 acres. And that lot's only about 3/4 of an acre. So they're gonna have to come in with a new A&R. We approved the A&R lot, but when we approved the A&R lot, the house location was not on the A&R lot. It could have gone another location, so they're gonna have to change the A&R lot. There's enough room there, a new border, and they'll probably get another location. So it'll probably come back to us, but it'll be outside of the water protection district. Okay? I have a motion to close the hearing. Have a second, I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no, motion carries.
Listen,
6:40, okay? Open public meeting for major modification of site plan for 40 and 42 Francis Street, map 318, parcel 17A and 17B. Oh, we should take those down.
For the record, Chris Anderson, Hannigan Engineering, here on behalf of Leak Tide Corporation, for a major modification to an existing site approval that was granted by the board back actually a year ago tomorrow. This is back before you guys a little while back. Initially, it was intended to construct a 30,000 and some change square foot building addition to span between number 40 and 42 Francis Street. Since that time, the company has gone through a shift in its anticipated expansion, and at this time, it's the sole intent to construct a smaller addition in order to provide a connection between the two structures. At the end of the day, this proposed building addition will be about 7,300 square feet, and just provide an expansion connection between the two. As part of the overall initial design, it was the intent to revamp the parking configuration on the property. Currently, there is an issue with on-site parking. During the shift changes, it becomes very convoluted, traffic heavy, with delivery trucks moving in and out along with employees during the shift change. As such, we're providing 132 parking spaces on the site, which is commensurate with the original approval as well, to help compensate for that shift change in order to make the process a little bit smoother for everybody. In addition to that, we're modifying the drainage system that was originally proposed. Under the original proposal, we were proposing a large infiltration basin along the back side of the building. That's proposed to remain intact as originally designed, as well as revamping the existing detention basin behind the number 42 Francis Street site. We did receive an order of conditions from the commission back in November of last year. For the purposes of this modification, everything within the buffer zone has remained intact. The drainage system has remained unchanged in this area. So, for lack of a better term, the entire drainage system on the back side of the property is designed to accommodate the future expansion of 30,000 square foot building addition if they ever deem it necessary. The intent being that once we get back there and do all the work, everything's said and done, if we need to go back there again, there's other issues going on. Besides that, we are revamping the existing basin that's located in the center of the site. But besides that, we're maintaining the same truck traffic patterns through the site. The only major modification being that of the additional parking spaces. It's pretty much the gist of the modification. If there's any questions from the board, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
So the only place is that gray piece that's the connector,
Just this little gray connector piece.
That's the only thing that's changed.
plus the site work.
Plus some of the site work, we dialed it back quite a bit, because you don't need to do all the site work that was associated with the actual building addition. Because with that larger building addition, we had to pretty much fill this entire area, we had to regrade the truck entrance area as well. But because we're not doing that anymore, you can pretty much let the site remain as is. There's already loading docks here, they're currently being used today, they're gonna be used at the end of the day as well.
Okay.
The parking situation, the new parking spaces, how is it different on this plan?
Pretty much they remain the same. We are providing a large line of pavement or parking along the northern tier of the site. But in addition to that, we are keeping some of the existing concrete pads up in the lower area, but we've rearranged the parking along that area of the site in order to accommodate that space as well as providing some additional spaces in other miscellaneous portions of the site. But the general intent of the parking configuration has remained pretty much the same to maintain that well.
Okay. Good.
Thank you for coming back.
Do you have anything else you get everything on?
We do have department head comments. Pretty much we're all set, with the exception of the fire department, with their general statement of when you have your fire suppression system squared away, let us know.
Right. Okay. Do you have any questions from the board?
Second.
Okay. I gotta ask my questions.
How about the audience?
I gotta ask the audience. Do I have any?
Cameraman.
Yeah, the cameraman, do you have any questions? Okay, I have no, okay, so a motion is in order. Paul, Paul moves, second by Oh, somebody, Jason. Motion made and second to close the public meeting for major modification. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Call to order.
Dean Valier,
Here.
Jason Parre.
Here.
Tom Kergnen,
Here.
Patrick Carlo.
Here.
Paul Weiser.
Here.
Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Vittorioso, excused. John Souza.
Minutes of previous meetings we have done. We have no new plans. Oh, that's. Doesn't happen too often.
It's all quiet.
Okay, 4.0 special permit for work in the watershed protection overlay district. Okay, we have a request
Those are withdrawal.
for withdrawal. I need a motion to accept that request.
So moved.
A
Second.
motion by Tom, seconded by Jason to accept the request to remove the request without prejudice. Okay, any further discussion? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both say no, motion carries. New business, site plan for 130 Pioneer Drive, map 463, parcel 13 for retail marijuana facility. Now, this still has to go to the city council, and what we're doing is an open public meeting, and we're making a recommendation to the city council.
Have a
No, This is
recommendation.
for site plan.
This is
For site plan.
John.
For site plan.
The recommendation for city
recommendation.
council comes,
Yeah, we have site plan.
Application.
This is a site plan.
Yeah, it's a site plan, and then,
And our
but later
recommendation,
on the agenda. is-
yeah, later on.
and our recommendation is conditioned upon the conservation commission.
Does that already do that?
Yeah.
Wait.
And prior to certificate of occupancy,
And,
to make sure Elizabeth does her reviews and conditions.
Yes.
We wanted to add those on all site plans going forward.
Okay,
I have a friend, on the land partner in a land engineering firm, that can need to abstain.
okay.
Let's vote. If I don't blow the vote.
I have five.
Five.
Okay, no site plans, okay. Okay, do we have a number of conditions? Do we have anything else you guys wish to add? No, I think
I'll
it's,
make a motion
well
to
done.
approve it with the conditions.
second,
Can we repeat the conditions when you're?
It was all
Do we
the
need the conditions for the, for any department heads, standard conditions of for approval
and
and acceptance of the, a receipt for the Conservation Commission, letter of,
and the prior.
negative intent, no negative,
And the city council.
Okay.
And prior to the certificate of occupancy, the planning director reviews all the conditions to make sure they're met.
right. That's prior to occupancy. Okay, do we have anything else you wanna add?
This will be the
There.
first marijuana facility.
Recreation.
Yeah, first one, recreation.
In Leominster?
Yes.
First
They're all in
recreation, they're all in Fitchburg, or we have, two
Up the
grow
street.
facilities.
And two growers.
Townsend,
But
whatever.
then, they're not, no distribution, no medical, cause they had the medical, they turned it into a grow facility,
Right.
so, so we have no
Both in
medical.
the same place.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Abstain.
Transport, and one abstained.
Major modification for site plan for 40 and 42 Francis Street, map
Thank you.
318,
Thank you.
parcel 17A and
Thank you.
17B. That was an easy one for you guys.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
On Francis Street.
I make a motion to approve with
with
department head conditions met, as well as a review of the conditions by the planning director prior to occupancy.
Second.
Well, okay,
There were some original conditions with the, first approval. Like, for example, you wanted the parking in the rear to be only for compact vehicles.
those stay, all the
Those
original
stay.
conditions,
Okay.
so,
And you were given prior documents?
Yeah, you would have. I don't think those.
Did you change that?
No, so, essentially that entire area, along that long backside of the north side of the property, was where all that compact spaces were that were pretty much stayed the same.
Okay.
If you see on your memo on page 2, there's a detailed list of all of the conditions from all the department heads previous, and from my memo previous. Do you wanna include all those?
Yeah, that would, but this is just a modification. So it would accept, the modification still, the initial
Okay,
plan still holds,
okay,
just with the modification.
okay. We don't need to reiterate it?
No. Yeah, all we're approving tonight is the modification. The plan that we accepted and all the conditions have already been conditioned. Okay, so the only thing we're going through tonight really is where they made the changes. Okay? Any discussion on that? Okay, do I have a motion? Well, I got a motion from Matt,
And seconded.
seconded by Tom. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
6.1, Planning Board recommendation for City Council Petition 1022, Revolutionary Clinics 2 Incorporated, seeks a special permit for the Leominster City Council to operate a recreational marijuana establishment use at 130 Pioneer Drive in Leominster, in accordance with the zoning ordinance, Chapter 22, Article 18, marijuana facilities, Section 22105.
There was backup material that came with this, it's all in your electronic packet.
Right.
A lot of it was duplicate to what you've already received.
Mhm.
But just wanted to make sure you knew that.
It is a duplicate and we've covered it. I think as far as I'm concerned, it's a good location. They've done a thorough traffic study. Was the only thing that I would have a concern with there would be on the traffic, and that road is pretty much,
I move we make a positive recommendation. Second.
so. Motion made and seconded to make a positive recommendation to the city council. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
This next one, I don't remember us being involved in that before. I know. Do we ever reappoint you? No.
It's a 3-year term.
Yes, we do.
So you're
Are
up,
you
you're up.
letting us
I'm up in
know,
October 31st.
or are we?
This is the last meeting
We,
before
oh,
then.
we,
But
the
mayor
appoints you, right?
No.
No, the board
Let
appoints me.
me explain something.
I don't ever remember doing it.
Well,
We don't have anything yet.
well, you haven't seen because our previous director wasn't here 3 years. And the one before that was,
Was here for about a week.
yeah,
Before that was about 3 weeks.
so we had quite a turnover
You're a
over
keeper.
the years.
3 years.
3 years already.
Just to let you know why it comes to us. The planning board
The
is
city charter.
unique in the city. There's like the ZBA or the Board of Health or the Conservation Commission are all appointed by the mayor. And their directors are also all appointed by the mayor. In the charter, it says that the planning board selects the planning director. Okay, so it's us and
We did do,
so we do,
interviews.
so we do the interviews and then we make the selection. Now, the mayor does get involved, but he doesn't have a vote. And so it's only been our vote. And I think somebody had told me that the library commission also hires their director, but that's just, I don't know. So that's why
So we
her
have to have a
appointment's
vote.
going up.
Does the charter?
So we have, so, huh?
Is there a process that's laid out in the charter, or just says we do it?
No, there's no process laid out in the charter.
So there's no, and this is not a bad view, I'm just understanding the process.
We need to do, yeah.
So
No.
there's no evaluation, there's no paperwork, it's just a straight up and down vote? and then that's it?
If a valuation was required, I would have to do it, okay? At this point,
And I'm sure you evaluate.
I evaluate her every day.
I'm just
We should
asking, I'm
establish
just
a
asking a
process.
process, that's all.
And I think, you know,
Nothing personal.
I'm not smart, you just did.
it's been a learning process. And now, the thing is that what we can do is, it's up to you.
We can table it to November.
Yeah, you can take,
You can table it as long as you want it.
yeah, as long as we don't appoint anybody else, she stays on. But the only change that difference that you could make if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay, make it a one-year appointment. Okay, that would be the only, condition at this time.
I make a motion.
The salary is
I make a motion
taken
that-
care of by the city,
Right. we have
and
nothing to do
that's
with
all
that.
in the union, and that's.
So we have nothing to
that's
do with compensation or.
We're doing a
turnout or
salary
anything.
study right now, but
Yeah,
that's
nothing
separate
that
from
we
this.
had
That's
done.
not us.
No,
That's the
no, we
city.
have nothing to do with
So we can't
compensation.
recommend anything in terms of compensation or.
No.
We can't.
Well, I can recommend the reappointment for 3 more years, can't I?
That's right.
So I do so.
So I have a motion made and seconded to reappoint for Elizabeth Wood for
3
Planning Development Director for 3 years.
2024.
Okay. Any questions, any further discussion on this? If we want, if I thought there was any issues, we would have had to go into an executive session, but I don't have any issues at this time. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Now, do I write a letter to the
You're stuck with us.
mayor?
So I'm asking the process.
Same that you
Do I
did.
have to do a follow-up letter to the mayor saying we,
John
as a
knows that.
formality?
I have to do it.
You'll do it.
I gotta do it.
Send him
Do
this.
something.
You write it and he'll sign it.
Yeah, you I'll stop by tomorrow. Montezuma Region Planning Commission Representative, MRPC, nomination of Dean Valier, second posting.
Yeah,
He has no choice in this,
still yes.
Meeting Wednesday night.
All right.
and meeting Wednesday night. And I
It's in
think
town now, though,
that
which is
he's
good.
already
It's
been
in the
nominated, so
department.
that's just a posting, no further action.
So
We have, one more letter.
Communication.
We have a communication. I need a motion to accept the communication from,
So moved.
who's it from, Elizabeth?
Veronica Lee JD from
Okay.
Rubenstein and Associates.
Okay, please give that to her. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and
Oh,
if I
motion made, yeah, a motion, I had, accept to read into the record, the communication.
We have Tom and is there
Oh,
a second?
I have a motion made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no, motion carries. Go ahead.
Okay, so in front of everybody, you received a little packet dated today. I received an email this morning. Stephanie and I received an email this morning from Veronica Lee, JD. It's a series of emails, so I don't know if you want me to read through each one, but the summary of it is, on
Oh, it's only 8 months.
Wisteria Drive, 24 Wisteria Drive, they're trying to sell the property and they got to their closing, which is gonna be this Friday hopefully for them. And they found out that there's a lot that's being held in covenant, by the city. This goes back to 1985, so this actually predates, of all people, it predates John.
Yeah,
That's across the street.
Yeah.
Yes, but we have a dilemma.
Bill Collins.
We have a dilemma here because, I contacted the DPW, and they said that the street, it's not an accepted street. There's no as-built, there's no street accepted plans. And then we have no bond for this. It's only being held in covenant. So the paperwork that I have to fill out, if the board wants to act on this, is conflicting to me because it's a certificate of lot release, and I put a copy of this in your packet. And I basically, it requires the planning director to sign off on this stating either one of two things. Either the lot has been fully performed to the satisfaction of the planning board, so the road is built, or it's not been fully performed and in lieu of that there's a bond. So we don't have either one of those.
So you can't do it.
How about,
Other homes are sold in
When I checked while we were here,
Bill Crowley sold it.
this lot has sold
Two lots over, right?
several times in the past 20 years.
How was that possible?
The property is situated on Wisteria Drive. So they're saying that the lot that this house sits on,
It's
it was originally on the covenant,
Yeah,
and the covenant was never released. But they built the house and sold the house, so several people
that
over the
shouldn't
years.
that shouldn't have happened, for
No,
one.
of course not.
It shouldn't have, back in the 80s when this happened, it shouldn't have been, no building permit should have been issued because the covenant wasn't released.
It's kind of too late.
So, I'm trying to think of a way around this, and I just got an idea.
What wasn't done? What wasn't performed on the?
Well, the road has never been accepted. There's potholes, that's all the unaccepted
But
streets.
they were holding the law and covenant until
Okay,
conceivably.
unless there's a bond,
finish
so
the road.
let's put it this way,
There's no bond.
Okay.
just, let's get an idea, okay? I don't know if it's worth our while or what, but we'll take, how about, this is just that I'm bringing forward, that we take and require a bond of $10. Okay, but if there would be a bond, there'd be a passbook would have to be initiated, and it'd go in there, but nothing would ever happen. Okay, and
Why would we do that?
Yeah.
we don't have, well, because we have to either have a bond, or the street has to be updated. And they can't sell the
the
house.
property has,
So all these
Sold
houses have been
before.
bought, sold, bought, sold, bought,
Yeah.
sold, bought, sold.
Never came up.
This one is gonna come
And
up.
this one is bought and sold, and it hasn't been an issue before with the title.
Right,
I mean,
right.
2013, it sold in
So
2016.
this is just to
So where
make the
did this
title
legal
company happy,
conundrum
basically?
Exactly.
derive from?
So how do we
This
make
came
the title
from-
company, like you says?
the
title
lawyer makes the
search.
title company happy. This is.
Would that work?
This isn't the legal hurdle
Should
that
work.
these guys are making it out to be.
Technically, there's a bond.
So
Yeah, so it costs them $10.
they might complain.
Well, then, you know,
Is this
I mean, that way it
It says in a form, in the amount satisfactory to said planning board.
Yeah.
To secure the constructions of ways and installation of municipal services to serve the following enumerated lots.
Well, that certainly doesn't.
Take it
do
to
it.
So that's not just this property, that's the whole neighborhood, right?
But they'll release it.
I can't vote.
The whole neighborhood is on an unaccepted street that doesn't.
the whole neighborhood's on accepted
Yeah,
street.
And by applying.
Why don't we
this law-
reach out to whoever sold the house the last time and figure out how they managed to get the title cleared to do the sale?
Somebody
in the
needs
first
to-
place.
Well, the title company,
It's not
whoever
our
did it, they
obligation.
never did their homework. How far
I'm
do you go
wondering why
back to
somebody was doing
13?
more homework than they needed.
And
to
there's
do
no
for
way a
sold
bank
for
was gonna lend
Yeah,
people
they
money for
shouldn't.
something without a title, so I don't know how that's possible. Well, I think we need more information for that, and I
This is a
really have a
legal
problem
question.
creating
This just
a-
came this morning, so this is as much as I could dig up.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm trying to put it through, because they got a closing for tomorrow.
Well,
Friday.
they should have
On
done
Friday.
it beforehand, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, this is.
So, I mean, we could accommodate it by creating a bond. Insignificant bond.
Nothing else is gonna be able to be done or happen, so let's
Nothing's
figure out
gonna happen
the
to
easiest
that
way to
road.
do it, if that's the easiest
I
way
could get a
to
legal
do it.
opinion.
By doing that, by imposing a $10 bond, does that,
That means-
are we accepting the street for $10?
Didn't she, no, she.
We don't
At least
accept
in the
the
law.
street.
It means
That's
I
just
can
a law.
sign off of it. It
That's
means
just
I
a
can
law.
sign off of it.
It just
That means she can
complicates
sign
the
off on the
problem.
paperwork.
I'm not voting for anything you're making up on the moment without a legal opinion, that's just too.
Just let's wait for a legal opinion on it anyways.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can pass it without me, but I'm not
Coleman.
voting for anything on Scott.
Paige needs to chime in on this.
I think
These
it's
things-
silly.
these things
The house
occur-
has
I
been
mean,
bought and sold two or three
Then what?
times.
It's gonna
And then
delay
it's screwed up
until,
for them and they try to sell it again, we didn't
set
get
a
it.
precedent for
The fact that
doing
all
this.
these homes have changed hands.
I don't
That should
know.
be an easy
Means
legal
that-
thing to get over, considering it's already been sold in the past.
But I need someone who knows the law to tell me that that's not gonna create a precedent that someone's gonna bring back later on and tell us that, we.
Never mind the fact that it might be something that could negatively impact them in the future. I mean,
Correct.
if it's not done the right way, it ain't gonna help them.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine, get a legal, have Copeland and Page.
So I could get a legal opinion, by the 18th. That's our next meeting.
That's fine.
And we have nothing on the, we have nothing on the agenda for the 18th. We
We're
do
not gonna
have,
come here for that.
They
Well,
will
hopefully
figure it
it'll
out
be
by then,
resolved
and they will-
without us having to get involved.
They're gonna
I mean,
close.
well, let's put it this,
If you're gonna
okay,
say
well,
fine, go ahead and clear it.
I'd rather not be involved at all, frankly.
We'll see.
what we could do, and what what we could do is get a legal opinion,
Mhm.
and if the legal opinion states, you know, an action that can be taken, by us,
If we take it.
then
Should be on the
that, with that action,
gave Carolyn that off?
with that action,
Where is our council?
we can direct, okay, Elizabeth to sign
Here,
it.
another way, right?
She wouldn't make that.
Then with that action, they give her permission to sign the proper documents.
Certainly, if the legal opinion is that Elizabeth can do something to resolve the situation, then
Mhm.
God bless.
It requires my signature with the notary. It doesn't, but it says satisfactory to the board though, within the document.
It would be satisfactory to the board, because we're gonna direct the information back to you
Yep.
to get a legal opinion, okay? And if that opinion is in the positive, okay, we will then direct you to accept it, the documentation with the approval of the planning board. How does that sound?
If the lawyer says you can sign, you can sign.
So
Okay.
our request of
It doesn't need to come back to us.
legal is to
We would have to go to Copeland and Page.
understand the best,
To give us
most
guidance.
What's the best
expedient
course of
way
action?
Right.
as a
Guidance
release.
on how to proceed.
Exactly.
Easiest way for these people.
They produce the document,
Well, we-
and perhaps she can just sign that document according to that, and then everything will be fine.
But our focus should be on releasing the covenant, not on their.
Well, what that would do is,
transaction. We don't care about their transaction. right?
that's
But we
how
care
you
about the
would,
covenant.
that's how you would release the covenant.
Mhm. Right.
Okay, but by her getting the legal opinion,
Right.
would allow her to release the covenant.
But the legal opinion isn't on how to let them sell their house, it's on how to best release the covenant in the
That's
best
correct.
interest of.
Yeah, we have nothing to do with selling the house.
Right.
It's only to do with releasing the covenant,
On that law. Required to sell the house.
okay? Does that sound right?
And by the time we get back, the house will.
Yeah.
release
So
all-
it
It could
sounds
be a
like
lot.
every house.
Oh, we've run
neighborhood getting
into,
resolved at
And we'll
the
say
same
what it
thing.
says, I'll be
I'd
calling
be
John with
curious
them.
from the
Yeah.
lawyers how that happens.
should be calling me,
I don't know for sure.
and I'll be in. Okay, any further discussion on this? I have a motion made and second, call for the vote, all in favor say aye.
Alright.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. I mean, this is, you know, we just had one where, was on the Scottish property that was sold, and we still held the covenant. And went through the holding company and everything else, and nothing else, but he came through and finished the road and cleared it, so then we were able to release it at a later date, but that's, so we've been working, that's something we've been working on to tighten up. Elizabeth actually worked with the registry of deeds. So they have the covenants and they're tying it back, so they're not gonna release any covenants until they get them signed off from us.
So another solution here is if the people who are selling have a title policy that would cover this, and they might be able to close, and
Mhm.
get a letter of indemnification from the title company. So we may not necessarily have to release it for the closing to happen.
Yeah, okay, fine.
They're asking us, so they're all doing what they say.
Do we have anything else we wish to bring forward to the,
Tom, you're up.
Motion to adjourn.
Wait, you forgot my report.
oh, get a report from Elizabeth.
I have some good news. Ava Way is progressing. I got, feedback from Whitman and Bingham, this morning that the as-bills are gonna be done the 13th to the 15th, the field work for the as-bills. And then the plans are gonna be worked on in, November, December, and they'll be done this year.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, we have the plans, but then we're gonna go forward.
Well,
One step at a
we
time.
have more, but something's getting done.
So, okay,
Motion adjourned.
do you have anything else, Elizabeth?
That was it. Just that our offices, we're gonna be, returning hopefully by the end of the month.
Good,
Okay,
Just in time for your new.
Can we have a motion,
Okay.
please? Tom?
Tom's motion
I
to
already did it
adjourn.
twice.
Second.
Diana's motion made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no, motion carries.